going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today it is going to be all about Sergio Conceicao, the new AC Milan manager, the man that plays a very unique 4-3-3 so far that looks really, really good. If you do enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And again, if you are interested in seeing my rebuilds, you can find me over on Daily Josh in the description below as well. But for the tactic fans, stay here right now because we have got 3 incredible 4-3-3s. So then going in, we are going to test, of course, with AC Milan as a main priority, and we come out and enjoy a really, really good season because not only are we going to win the league with 36 wins and only 2 draws, we also are going to win that Italian Cup against Blue Neri, Inter Milan, not AC Milan. We are, what are we called? Cassie of it? I don't know what is going on. I need to do the real name fix, but the game's basically at the end of the game cycle, so I'm just getting by with it, to be honest. We are going to win 4-1 over Inter Milan in quite a comfortable final, and again, the league is utter dominance. Now, 1 player and 2 players actually in this system, which both come down the left-hand side, are so important to getting the most out of this tactic, is Theo Hernandez and, of course, Rafael Leao. Now, you don't have to have these 2 players, but there is a big emphasis on actually using the left-hand side a little bit more than the right-hand side. So to get the most out of this tactic, I would prioritise on having a good stacked left side. So a good wing-back and a very good winger. Now, in terms of actual team stats, we scored 147 goals in the league, over 920 shots, only 156 shots against us. Most dribbles, very, very good there. Conceded, only 15 conceded, and a good amount of clean sheets as well. Now, in terms of the possession, we're not going to be too heavy up there because we're more of a direct sort of get the ball moving team. Now, that's not a bad thing in the Italian league because you don't really need to have loads of possession to, well, dominate the league, to be honest with you. Now, in terms of the data hub, we are going to be seeing 3.87 goals a game, only 0.39 conceded. A good pass completion, considering we are not all about short pass and play all the time. Sometimes we are going to go a bit more direct, let Leao run with it, etc, etc. A good tackle win ratio, and, you know, over 24 shots a game. You can see why we've done the invincible job. Who were the draws against? 2 very good teams, so in my opinion, it's a flawless season, apart from the Champions League. Of course, no Champions League final, but there was an Italian Cup final, and against one of the better teams in the Serie A, being Inter Milan, and we did not get fazed by them one bit at all. Of course, a player that has done always very well in AC Milan is Rafael Leao, is going to find Morata for the first goal. We're then going to sort of force them into a mistake from the back, as Morata is going to make it 2-0 inside of 46 minutes. By this point in the game, Inter Milan were down, of course, 2-10 men as well, as you can see up here, as the third goal is going to come in there from Tomori. Now, again, another big part of this tactic is how good it is at the back. Players like Tomori do really well in this system, as we are going to go and concede, but as an overall sort of season point of view, we were so good at the back as well. So it's not just about attacking quality, although when they're going in, maybe it is. We're then going to go over and test with FC Porto. Again, we enjoyed a great season there, and I want to show you this screen because there was so many trophies we won. We won the Portuguese Super Cup 2-0 over Sporting, a great performance there. The League Cup 3-1 over Benfica, really facing up against the big teams now. And the Portuguese Cup, we also lift over a bit of an easier team there, but we are playing 2 of the biggest teams in Portugal, and to be honest, they're not standing a single chance. In terms of the actual stats as a team as well, very, very good. Not as many goals as AC Milan, but of course still nearly double of Benfica, which is really impressive. The most shots, the fewest shots against, the most dribbles, the fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. And possession wise, we are going to be up there. Now, this does show the difference in leagues. Some leagues you're not going to have a lot of the ball, some leagues you are, depending on how competitive the league actually is and how the league plays and how many teams actually play that sort of style. Of course, Italy isn't really known for high levels of the ball. It's quite a counter-attacking league. With the Portuguese league, some teams do play that way, and even for us, we did average 57% of the ball. Now, in terms of the data hub, we can go and see 3.82 goals being scored, only 0.47 going in, a good amount of shots per game, only 0.3 shy of 24, and a great pass completion. So, as an overall package, we've done very, very well, even with his old team. And I will say, I do feel sorry for the Porto fans because he was some manager. Of course, in one of the cup finals, we are going to watch it because we like to see where the goals come in. You have got one good addition if you are Porto. You have got Samu up front, who is one of my favourite strikers this year in the game. And also this guy, Borje, I believe is how you say that, absolutely took over this season. Great link-up play there down the right and a great finish to go 2-0 up inside of 42 minutes. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Obviously, we are playing a bit of a weaker team in this final, but at the end of the day, we've gone toe-to-toe and beaten Sporting, Benfica, Braga, we've beaten the big teams, so to have an easier final isn't a bad thing. We've already beaten the big teams to get here, so we deserve to take our foot off the gas a little bit and relax. And at this point, we're 4-0 up, so there was no way we were going to lose the game from this point. And to finish it off, it's going to be a little cheeky set piece. We'll take it. And then lastly, we are going to have an almost season with Tottenham, to be honest with you, because it's a decent season, a top 4 finish, and also Carabao Cup winners over Liverpool in a 1-0 game. Runners up in the Europa League, it's an almost season. You know, we almost won the Prem, only 3 points off. The players you'd expect to perform do perform. Heung-min Son, James Maddison. It's a decent season. It could have been better, but we show whatever happens in terms of the results. And if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. Now, I will say I would take this for a first season with Tottenham, especially considering it's Champions League football and you've won a league and got to a European final. But you can be the deciding factor of that one. We had a ton of shots. Possession, we're not really going to be on there, and part of me does think that might be the struggling factor. I did use the defensive version with Tottenham, and maybe they're too big of a team to go in with that defensive mindset with, but I just thought I'll see how they do. And to be fair, if you're after consistency, you can't really complain. Let's go over and break down all 3 of the tactics. Right then, to make this tactic, you want to do 2 things. Firstly, leave a like on the video and subscribe, and then you want to go on and create your own style and simply load in a 4-3-3 DM wide, and then we'll change it from there because it does look a little bit different. I do want to quickly say, do come over to that rebuild channel, Daily Josh, because you're going to see an AC Milan rebuild shortly with this tactic, and also you can see all these other amazing rebuilds where genuinely it is some of the best rebuilds you will see. Insane signings, great results, and you can see these tactics over 5 to 10 seasons. So go in, load the 4-3-3, let's talk tactics. So then the first thing you want to do is obviously drag the 4-3-3 into all in basically a straight line. So quite a straight 4-3-3 is the way that Conceicao does play at the moment with AC Milan. He has tested out different formations. Today we focus on the 4-3-3. We're then going to look to change the mentality to positive. That is a big thing in the system. We are actually quite an attacking team. Going over to the goalkeeper, we are going to operate with that sweeper keeper, who is going to come in simply on support. And then over to the back line, where things start off quite basic. So we are going to go with 2 central defenders who simply are on the default. So far, pretty easy to copy. Where it does change a little bit is the sort of the way the wing backs differ. So on the left-hand side, we are going to have, of course, Theo Hernandez, who enjoyed a great season, and we are going to look to have some instructions on him. Those are going to be consistent of taking more risks, dribbling more, running with the ball, and also staying wider. Now, this won't be the same for the right back as well, but the importance of having a player like Theo Hernandez and Leao is what makes AC Milan AC Milan. They've got a good core batch of players, but the left-hand side is a big reason to why they are such a good team. So make sure you are replicating that, having a good left back, a good left wing, and just focus down that side. You can still attack down the right-hand side, but they're very well known for the whole Hernandez, the Leao link-up. It works every single time. Now, going over to the right back, we are going to go with another wing back. This time, we are going to have him set to automatic, so a little bit different, and one instruction. That is simply going to be tackle harder, so a lot less involvement in the attacking side of the game for the right back. He still will get up naturally as a wing back, but he is simply going to be on auto on tackle harder. Now, going over to the actual midfield, obviously we've got 3 players to talk about. The first thing you want to do is in the mid, just add in a default ball-winning midfield player. This player essentially is just going to win the ball back, funny enough, not really look to attack too much, be quite aggressive in those challenges, and he just supports the players around him. So on the left-hand side, we are going to see a DLP come in on support, and I actually want him to be quite direct. More direct passing, look for the runs in behind, overlapping Hernandez, Leao, right wing as well, and of course the striker up front. And a player which you might not even be expecting to be in that sort of contention of players that he might pluck out is going to be the addition of the box-to-box. If you've watched AC Milan since Conceicao has been there, you will definitely notice this sort of box-to-box role where he is going to be getting forward and moving into channels, because they are going to play with a deep lying forward who does drop back, sits actually quite deep, and the box-to-box also replaces him. So it's a very good way of playing football. It gets a midfield player attacking, and it just offers something a little bit different. So it's a a very good way, and you can replicate it very easy inside of Football Manager. I do want to quickly say, if you are interested in getting access to all 3 of today's tactics, getting them on console and on mobile, and getting all of these perks, including all of my rebuild files, one-on-one tactical help, and so much more, also ad-free videos, which is the big one, you can come over to the Patreon and join the 5,000 other members, and you can be part of a team of just utter FM heads. We love Football Manager, we love it, we talk about it all the time. It is the perfect place to be. Make sure you come on over. Now, when we go over to the front 3, we are of course going to see quite an impact in terms of the winger on the left hand side. This is going to be Rafael Leao, so we'll lock in and focus on this one. So a winger on attack, we're going to have him on cut inside and shoot more often. Again, Leao can score goals. He's not all about just creating. He can cut in and also have a crack at the goal. He's got that in the locker. And on the right hand side, we are going to have another winger on attack, but a little bit different. Simply just run wide, because I want a little bit different from each side of the wings, and it works really well. And to finish it off, we are going to operate with a deep lying forward who is simply going to be on support, and that is all she wrote in terms of the player roles. Now, going over to the team instructions, again, the clean slate on the positive mentality, we are going to go with fairly wide. They're going to overlap left while playing out from the back. The crosses are going to remain on mixed crosses. We are going to run at defence, which means that we are going to be playing not a full-on counter-attack and style, but along the same lines. The passing is going to drop down to 1, to shorter, and the tempo is going to be maxed out. He does play a very aggressive way of football, so make sure your players can hack it. Rest, rotate, train, all that good stuff. You'll be absolutely golden. In transition, we're going to look to counter press and counter, and simply take short goal kicks. Again, not really a favoured sort of area. If he does play to a centre-back, we are going to aim to play out from the back. We've got 3 midfield players who can obviously pick up the ball and move the ball forward, so it does make sense to do so. And out of possession, we are going to look to have the high press with the higher defensive line, a maxed out trigger press, and simply step up more. And that's going to give you the default version of this tactic. Now, if you've been on the channel for a long time, these videos you also do get the attacking version and a defensive version. Designed for the attacking one is for top 4 teams and to get you back into a game. The defensive one for smaller teams and to seal out a game with. So the goalkeeper does remain the same. This is the attacking version. The central defenders also remain the same. The right back gets buffed up. He's still an automatic, but this time take more risks, run wide, get forwards, stay wider, and also tackle harder. The big 5. We love to see that. And the wing back on the left does remain the same because he also was very attacking. Now, we've gone very unique and it is very aggressive. We have gone with a DLP in the middle, who obviously stays in the team but goes centrally onto more direct passes. And we have now got 2 box-to-boxers who both will defend and both will fly forward on get forwards and move into channels. The winger on the left and on the right remain the same, and the only other change is that the DLF goes all the way up to attack on the default. Team instruction wise, we are going to go up to attacking, and there is going to be a bit of a change in terms of the instructions. The changes that don't really have an impact are run at defence, the higher tempo, and the passing is going to be the same. But alongside of playing out from the back, we are now also going to tell the right back to overlap and really get our wing backs flying forward and contributing to the attack. You can get away playing with this with a top team, or if you are chasing a game, it's absolutely perfect. Make sure you are getting all 3 variants. When it comes to the in transition, we're going to counter press, counter, distribute quickly, and simply take short goal kicks. So again, the only real change there is the addition of getting the ball moving a bit quicker. That is mainly if you're trying to chase a game. You don't need to go into a game with that sort of decision, but if you are trying to chase a game, get back into a game, you need to be moving quicker. And out of possession, probably to be expected, the high press, the much higher, much more often, and of course also step up more with that defensive line. Now when it comes to the defensive version, things are going to change a little bit, and we are going to sort of differentiate and go to the normal 4-3-3 that you see. So we are going to go with a normal sweeper keeper default, 2 default central defenders, the wing back on the right and on the left are both now quite reserved, both on tackle harder and mark tighter. The ball winning midfield player is going to come in on the default, a centre mid on the left on auto, pass it short, roam, move into the channels, and of course tackle harder. And the box to box does remain into the team, and he is simply going to be on move into the channels and tackle harder. Now when it comes to the wingers on the left and the right, we have gone down a much more sort of possession-based focus with this tactic, so they are both going to be wingers on support, on pass it short, cut in, and roam from the position. And the DLF goes back to being a default supportive role. Now, when it comes to the team instructions, you might be surprised, but the mentality does remain on positive, the whip remains the same, but it does change a fair bit. So if you're using this to defend a game out with, have time wasting set to sometimes. If you're going into every game with it, have it on never, because you don't need to time waste from minute one. The creative freedom, we're going to be more disciplined. The tempo is going to remain in the middle, but the passing goes down to 1, making the tempo standard, and we are going to look to play out from the back with no overlapping runs set to the sort of preset. In transition, we are still going to counter. We are still going to counter press as well. Now, the reason why we're countering in a possession tactic is because I want us to counter and still be productive, but just be a little bit more short passing based, you know? We haven't got to rush it, more direct passing, just be nice and slow, but also have enough in you where you are going to counter. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in Football Manager is when you want to play defensive, you go so defensive, you've got nothing in the attack and locker, and you just get dominated, they have shots, and eventually they will score goals, and your players are deflated. Now, if you are trying to see it out the last 10-15 minutes, you could also hit slow pace down. That is completely optional, and we are going to play to anybody across the back line this time, while simply taking short goal kicks. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to deploy the standard line with the mid block, a maxed out trigger press because that never changes, and also step up more with that defensive line. And that's going to give you not 1, not 2, but 3 versions of Sergio's Milan. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Once again, make sure you head on over to that Patreon because we've got tons and tons of exclusive content. A little fun fact, we release a piece of exclusive content every day. One day it's a rebuild, one day it's a tactic, and over a month it's 16 pence per file, which is what can you get for that nowadays? Basically nothing. A little fun fact, but I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.